The man you see dancing on the video is this man here, Mr. Nguema. And right now, as I'm recording, today is election day in Gabon, where Mr. Nguema is the interim president, looking like he's going to be the permanent president once the votes are counted. The question is, should Africa and the diaspora be dancing alongside with him? If that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned. For those of you that don't know, my name is TJ. I'm Nigerian and British mixed. Although I grew up mostly in the UK, the last couple of years I've been living in Uganda, where I started a new life with my partner Medina. This channel was started so that I could document that journey, because it's been the challenge of my life. However, it's evolved to me trying to answer the question, why has Africa not lived up to its full potential? So when you see guys like this dancing on stage, celebrating elections, before you celebrate alongside them, you just want to make sure that mistakes that Africa has made in the past are not going to be repeated. The kind of mistakes that stifle the growth of Africa and keep the people impoverished and struggling to make ends meet. So let's just do a quick recap on who this guy is and exactly how he came into power.
Here is the president. Okay, this is the guy. His name is Brice Oligui. He took over power by force by overthrowing the previous president, whose name is Ali Bongo. He is Ali Bongo. Ali Bongo was very sick, but he just wanted to remain in power. He won the election for the third time, and the election was rigged. He cheated. Then Oligui said, no. Sorry, sir, we're going to kick you out. Who did Ali Bongo replace? He replaced this guy, Omar Bongo, his father, who stayed in power for how many years? Take a guess. 41 years in power before he died. He died in power, basically. Then he took over, and then he wanted to go through election for the third time. That's when they ousted him. Now, the brand new government is transitional, so they're temporarily, supposedly. The goal is to change things before they end things back into civilians.
It seemed like when this coup happened, it was cause for celebration, because the Bongo family had been in charge for so long, and there was all sorts of rumors about how they were corrupt, including Ali Bongo's wife, who allegedly would make infrastructure deals and then get paid kickbacks of millions of dollars for these deals to be awarded to one group or another. Plus, if you've been watching my channel for any period of time, you will know that I think the French have the most potent and unethical neo-colonial system on the continent of Africa, which I've spoken so much on this channel about just how manipulative and crippling it is. However, when I found this post of him dancing, you'll see something interesting in the description of this post. Gabon's military president, Brice Nguema, dancing on stage at his campaign rally. He is contesting the presidential election tomorrow, which is today, the day I'm recording. In 2023, he overthrew his cousin, Ali Bongo, who ruled Gabon for 14 years. His uncle, Omar Bongo, who ruled for 42 years. Omar is Ali's father. So this tweet right here is exposing something that I'm not sure everybody understands, which is that this is still a family affair. I came across this particular comment that says he thinks he's slick. The entire lineage shouldn't smell the presidential seat again if they were a serious country. So it seems all of this dancing and jubilation is just another scenario where he's pulled the wool over the people of Gabon's eyes. But the plot is even a little bit darker than that, and I'm going to let the Merc explain why.
Gabon is one of the most mineral rich per capita, let's just say per capita, because not the most mineral rich country in Africa, but for the size of the country, the amount of resources that it has is immense, which is why I made videos back then saying that Gabon should be the Dubai of Africa, because the population is so small. There are not a lot of people in Gabon, but the wealth is so high that places like Gabon, I think it's Gabon and Equatorial Guinea as well as another country like that, should be like Dubai, because the countries are small, but the resources are immense. So therefore, everybody should be a millionaire. If resources were shared equitably with the people, everybody should be a millionaire in Gabon.
For context, I think London is 8 or 9 million people. So the entire population of a landmass the size of UK has 2 million people in its population, and they are very mineral rich. When we talk about mineral rich, it's sometimes hard to understand the figures. A few weeks ago, I found out that Congo has something in the region of $24 trillion in unrealized minerals in the ground. So it doesn't take much to believe that if they just distributed the mineral wealth, every single citizen in Gabon could be a millionaire. And as for his reference to Dubai, what if they had a system in place where they did make the place extremely safe, extremely luxurious, all funded by the mineral wealth, so that Gabon could become a tourist attraction, a place people like to go, a place people like to build and live and migrate to. But of course, there's been a family in charge and a route directly to France where that money goes because of that family.
Because on closer inspection, I then found out that Brice Oligui Nguema is Ali Bongo's cousin. It's his cousin who allegedly did a coup on him. I then also found out that this guy was his special military or security force head. Like he appointed him like a special military role very shortly before this coup took place. Ali Bongo did. So Ali Bongo put his cousin in a special role in the military shortly before the coup happened. And when he put him in that special role, there was a scandal where they found that this Oligui Nguema was purchasing mansions and things with government funds, allegedly. And they were going to do an investigation. And it is when this investigation was supposed to happen that a coup now occurs. I kid you not, guys. Read up the details. This stuff is like a soap opera. Read the details. It's all on the internet if you can find it. I mean, you know what the funny thing is? The stuff is findable, but you almost have to be told to go and look for it, because ain't nobody promoting these stories. This happens, and you're like, wow, maybe this isn't what we think it is. The cousin is doing a coup, and the coup is conveniently happening when the cousin is about to get investigated for corruption. And then this is where things get even more interesting. The coup occurs. France, UK, Germany, US don't pressure African nations to sanction Gabon, which is what they did with everybody else who had coups in West Africa. They don't pressure anybody to sanction them. The stories are light, so they report on it in the media, but the stories are light. There aren't a lot of stories coming out. And I was thinking to myself that this is really interesting. And then it dawned on me that this is just a changing of the guard. This is not what we think it is. What is happening here is that potentially, and this is the key that needs to be understood. There was beginning to be unrest about Ali Bongo's rule. There was unrest. Okay? And when the unrest started, there was another candidate who was trying to take over from Ali Bongo in an election. And I believe what happened is folks realized that if we let things progress the way they're progressing, we might have an uprising. If this guy doesn't lose the election, we're going to have a revolution in Gabon where somebody that we have no control over is going to take over, pretty much like what happened in the Sahel Alliance countries. That is what I believe they were scared of. So we need to stage our own coup quickly so that we do not run into a situation like that. And in our coup, we're going to make sure that the coup person is somebody that we want to be in office. I kid you not, guys. That is what I believe is going on.
So I guess we could say that this is wild speculation, and I will leave everyone who's watching the video to come to their own conclusions and do their own research to see if they actually feel like this is the case or not. Me personally, I would be inclined to agree. Ibrahim Traore's coup had already happened 1 year prior to Nguema's coup, and France were having a year of all sorts of turmoil regarding the revolution that this was in Burkina Faso. And it was contagious because you had Mali and you had Niger doing the same, rejecting the French control, kicking the French out of the region, and the pipeline for cheap resources was cut off. So this speculation could very well be true. On the surface, we've got a coup done by the family member who is speaking the same kind of revolutionary talk to the people that Traoré and those in the Sahel region were doing, but keeping the relations that existed between the dictatorship that was there before intact. To pull the wool over everybody's eyes, he needed to be seen to be making a big revolutionary change.
One of the major changes, this guy is fighting tremendously against theft and corruption and dishonesty among government officials. So the law applies to a broad range of officials, including presidential aides, ministers, and members of National Assembly. These individuals are now required to disclose the full extent of their financial holdings. The government has stated that failure to comply could lead to criminal charges, including fines and possible imprisonment. So if you don't name whatever you possess before you get into office, you're going to probably get in prison. Once he got into power, he went after the previous government family. First thing first, he threw the ex-president's wife and his son in jail for corruption, money laundering, and embezzlement.
This is footage from when the coup had just happened and they found suitcases of cash and the corruption was uncovered in this big reveal. And the reason why I'm showing you this is that I believe that this is part of the facade, that this is some kind of great revolutionary moment. You get to record these distraught elites that have been corrupt for years. Meanwhile, these guys are your cousins, your uncles, your aunts. These guys are people that you've had personal relationships with. And we are there believing that you, the cousin, you didn't do any of this embezzlement. You didn't do any of this money laundering or what have you. So there we have it, the perfect coup that looks like a revolution on the surface, but is actually in place to keep the old system going. Now, I don't know if that's true. I'm just trying to connect dots. I put the information there for you to also go out and see. We could be totally wrong. This could be a new era of prosperity for Gabon. Every Gabonese could become a millionaire if he distributes the wealth correctly, and maybe that's what he's going to do. Time will tell. I'm sure you have your opinion about it. I would love to hear about it in the comments section. But if you have nothing to say in the comments section, would it be too much for me to ask you to write the words Africa Liberation in the comments section? It lets me know that you watched the video to the end, you like what I'm doing, and you want me to continue. Thanks so much for watching this today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.